E ora, come promesso, al telefono su Radio Ci Sta, Brian Mackey. Hello Brian, how are you?
Hey man, nice to have you be on with you today on the radio, and it's good to talk to you.
Before we get started, I'd like to thank you on behalf of everyone here at Radio Ci Sta for taking the time to participate in this program. It is a great pleasure to be talking to you. So let's get started. Brian, you have released singles and full-length albums, and you have had success not only in the USA but also in Europe, especially in Germany, where you have also played some live gigs. But we want to know something from your early days as a musician. Could you describe the path that took you where you are today? What inspired your creations, and who are those artists that mostly influenced you?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Well, I grew up in a very small town near Georgia in the United States, which is in the South, in northern Florida, and I used to play music as a source of trying to get my thoughts out at a very early age, around age 7, and I played the piano as well. And then we moved around the United States a lot. My dad was in the military, and we would move to different states, and I would be the new kid in a lot of schools starting over. So I really didn't have long-lasting friendships, but one thing that really stayed by my side was music, and helped form a lot of the lyrics and the music that I sing today.
Brian, music, reality shows, and talent scouts. Today, pretty much everyone can have a chance to become a star from one day to another, or almost. What do you think about those people, those singers, those artists who manage to hit the big crowd in a short time span, maybe without even having to go through the path of efforts, dedication, and why not even frustration sometimes that leads to success?
Right, and for the most part, I think a lot of that stuff just makes a good TV show, but I think most of it is not based in reality. If you really want to read some good fiction, watch a reality show, because there's a lot of fiction there.
That's a good one.
There's a script there, and a lot of times people think there's a fast track to something, but there are those instances where people do have the talent that they've cultivated, where they don't tell the backstory and then they end up on that show, or they get really lucky and they get promotion behind them, but they don't end up lasting as long as somebody who's paid their dues. I think a lot of that is kind of it's like bullshit, a lot of it.
Let's talk instead about record labels and Creative Commons. On one side, we have the copyrights that are fully reserved, and on the other side, there is the possibility for the artist to share just some specific rights on their works. What do you think, that regardless of money, what do you think it is the best approach for the artist himself or herself to rapidly spread their works and to successfully brand a name?
Well, I think Creative Commons serves a purpose in some areas, and I think that it's entirely up to the individual artist how they feel that their work should be distributed. There are some places out there that probably exploit the works of artists and kind of, they make money in ways where the artist never sees a dime, but then they get compensated as well. I was just recently signed to a record label called Blind Pass Records here in the States 2 months ago, and it's a new startup label, and it's kind of a label that's very fair to the artist. There are so many people out there, good and bad, in this industry. You just have to kind of follow your heart as well as your gut, and not have too much of an open mind, because your brain will fall out. You know what I mean? You have to kind of have this knowing that somebody somewhere wants what you have. If it's relevant and they can exploit it, they will. So you have to kind of know when to give things away where you feel it's in your best interest, or it's something that's close to your heart, like a charity, which I've done many times. And then there's people that are just doing it for pure profit and don't want to show any recompense to the artist, then I'm not for that at all.
I have one last question for you. Brian, tell us about the near future. What's boiling in the pot? What is next? You just said that you are just signed to a new record label, but is there any tour, any album release, some new project?
Yeah, man. I'm glad you asked. There is a tour coming up in May. I'm going to be back in Germany. I have some dates on my website. I'm going to be there from May 18th to May 28th in Germany, and then I'm going to be heading over to the United Kingdom for some shows, which will also be on my website, brianmackeymusic.com. I'm playing a show May 1st in New York City on Avenue of the Americas, which is a really big show that's going to be, in Manhattan. There should be thousands of people there, which is going to be on May 1st.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so we got some stuff cooking. We got a new album in the works that should be out in January. So we're kind of keeping things going here. I didn't answer your first question completely when you asked me who inspired me musically. Is it okay if I let you know that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, man. Like Jim Croce and Harry Chapin, Billy Joel, John Lennon, George Harrison, Paul McCartney. There's so many artists out there that were just like storytellers that would actually give you something to listen to and something to think about. Those are the artists that really left a mark on me and made me want to tell a story that I had in my mind and in my heart.
Brian, bye and thank you very much.
Alright, ciao man.
Per Radio Ci Sta, questo era Brian Mackey e la prossima canzone è...